So in this episode today, we try to answer the question, will President Trump issue a pardon to Ghislaine Maxwell, especially after the comments from her attorney today? And secondly, the American people are feeling great about the economy, which is another blow to Democrats and the experts. We'll get into both of these stories in this video, show you what both sides are saying, and then give you the bottom line.
Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche's meeting with convicted sex trafficker Ghislaine Maxwell has ended. This as critics are calling for more transparency in the Jeffrey Epstein investigation. Welcome back as we head into hour two of America Reports. I'm Sandra Smith in New York, and Bill, great to have you here today.
Great to be with you as well, Sandra. I'm Bill Malugin in Los Angeles. John Roberts has the day off. That meeting Sandra just mentioned just wrapped up moments ago. Maxwell was escorted back to the prison from the courthouse in Tallahassee. Her attorney said they had a, quote, productive meeting with Blanche, but details of their talks still remain under wraps right now.
So, David, what else did Maxwell's attorney say?
Well, he said a lot. We wish we could be in and hear what was said in the actual meeting. This meeting was a lot shorter than it was yesterday, but this was a two-day event. The highlight, though, it appears that her team wants a pardon. Watch.
We're going to take one day at a time. I know that's very cliche, but it's true because things are happening so quickly. We haven't spoken to the president or anybody about a pardon just yet. And you know, listen. The president this morning said he had the power to do so. We hope he exercises that power in the right and just way.
Okay, so there's no question this is some interesting news about Ghislaine Maxwell and whether or not Trump is serious about giving her a pardon. Now, I believe this begs the question just right up front before we get into how you feel about it. Why would she get a pardon to begin with? Well, I'm assuming she's handing over information that would lead to additional prosecutions of people who were involved. Other than that, I don't know why she would get a pardon. I mean, you guys let me know if I'm misunderstanding something here. Just put your thoughts in the comment section below. But more importantly, here is what the president said on his way to Scotland earlier about a potential pardon for Ghislaine Maxwell. Take a look.
Would you consider a pardon or a commutation for Ghislaine Maxwell? It's something I haven't thought about. It's really something recommended. It's something I'm allowed to do it, but it's something I have not thought about.
Sandra, this all happened at the federal courthouse in Tallahassee, not far from where Maxwell is serving a 20-year prison sentence behind bars for trafficking. The DOJ not commenting on the meeting today. Legal experts question whether Maxwell told and will tell her version of the truth going forward, the actual truth. Now, the recent photos we have snapped by Fox News Digital show her on a run at that Tallahassee prison. We're still awaiting decisions from two federal judges in New York who will decide if they'll release grand jury transcripts from investigations involving both Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein. A Florida judge from another of Epstein's criminal cases says her hands are tied, as anything to do with the grand jury in the American court system is typically kept close and secretive. But he said, when I say he, I'm talking about Maxwell's attorney, he said we haven't reached out to anybody or the president just yet on a pardon.
Okay, so let's just cut to the chase. What scenario would have to take place for you to feel comfortable with Ghislaine Maxwell receiving a full pardon from President Trump? I mean, you'll have to give me your answer in the comment section, please. I'm not seeing it. And by the way, it's all speculation because we don't know what the actual discussions have been with the Department of Justice. We just know what the attorney had to say. So that's the first part of it.
What are you hoping Todd Blanche interviewing Ghislaine Maxwell? What are you hoping that they get out of that?
I really have really nothing to say about it. She is being talked to by a very smart man, by a very good man, Todd Blanche. And I don't know anything about the conversation. I haven't really been following it. A lot of people are asking me about pardons. Obviously, this is no time to be talking about pardons. But a lot of people have asked about pardon. This is just not a time to be talking about pardons. Todd will come back with whatever he's got. You're making a very big thing over something that's not a big thing. You should be talking about, if you're going to talk about that, talk about Clinton, talk about the former president of Harvard, talk about all of his friends, talk about the hedge fund guys that were with him all the time. Don't talk about Trump. What you should be talking about is the fact that we have the greatest 6 months in the history of a presidency, according to a lot of people. And We had an amazing 6 months.
The second part is what the media is doing, which once again, they're playing games with their own audience. I'm talking about MSDNC, because they're claiming that this would never happen in any other situation where someone from the Department of Justice would meet with someone in prison to potentially talk about information that would lead to additional arrests. I guess that must be something new, right? Well, according to MSDNC, it is. Take a look.
And you know what? Add one more thing. It doesn't happen that the Deputy Attorney General, the number 2 person in the Department of Justice, would engage in this proffer session. But even more so, where are the career agents and prosecutors? Why aren't the career prosecutors from the Southern District of New York in on this? They're the ones who know the evidence inside out. They actually tried Ghislaine Maxwell. They actually have investigated her and Jeffrey Epstein. So you really have to wonder what's going on here. There's no way for Todd Blanche to know all of the facts and to be able to test what she is saying. And so, one thing I am looking for is whether this sort of ends up biting them. If they try and cooperate her based on a 2-day proffer by somebody in the Department of Justice who doesn't know the case, this could really reek of a cover-up. And in addition to the idea of giving somebody who has a convicted child predator a break at sentencing.
On his points, one of them is just blatantly false, acting as if people from the Department of Justice never meet with people in prison to negotiate things or have a discussion. Okay, give us a break. We're not that stupid, okay? But the second point he did make, which was if they go down this road, this is going to reek like a cover-up. I don't care what side you're on. This is where I stand. I just want results in the end. So if all this energy and all this focus from the Department of Justice with Maxwell is going to lead to an additional arrest and people being prosecuted, by all means, do what you got to do. But that doesn't mean DeVore, who was sexually abused as a child, would ever in his right mind agree to pardon someone like Ghislaine Maxwell, just so you guys understand where I stand on this issue. Now, Greg Kelly from Newsmax is catching heat because here's what he said about Ghislaine Maxwell, and you guys are going to have to help me figure this out. Is he being serious or is he being sarcastic? Take a listen.
Let's find out, what is this all about? And she's also been subpoenaed by the Oversight Committee. I think this is great. I do have a feeling that she just might be a victim. She just might be. There was a rush to judgment. There was a lot of chaos there for a while. All right. Granted, she hung out with Jeffrey Epstein, and I know that's apparently not good, but she's in jail for how long now? 20 years. A 20-year sentence.
Okay. Now, before you react to the statements that he made and answering my question about is he serious or is he being sarcastic, let's at least give you the full picture here. Now, Alan Dershowitz, who some people believe is the greatest attorney who's currently still alive, claims that Ghislaine Maxwell was actually unfairly prosecuted because there was nobody else to prosecute. And in a sense, she's actually serving the sentence that Epstein should be serving, but he committed suicide. That is the point of view from Alan Dershowitz, okay? So, one, do you guys buy that opinion from him? Do you believe she's been unfairly treated? I think I know the answers to those questions, but I still want to know what you guys think about all this, because fact number one is she was convicted. Fact number two, the victims in court testified against her and said she was in on the sexual abuse, trafficking, and grooming. And fact number three, the Department of Justice has spoken to her not once, but twice. So in the end, where does this actually take us? I don't know. I'd love to hear what you guys think about where this is ultimately going to go. Now, let's go to our next story, which is much more positive, something I would personally rather be discussing, and that is about the economy. But more importantly, how does the American people feel about the economy, and comparing that to what mainstream media is saying? Take a look at this Wall Street Journal study, Wall Street Journal poll that was just published.
Wall Street Journal, percentage of voters who rate the economy as positive, holding steady at 47%? Or is that an increase? It looks like it's actually up on that graph, Cheryl.
Well, 47% is they say it's excellent or good. That's how they rate the economy. This is the most positive rating that the Journal has ever seen in these surveys going back to 2021. So even if voters in the Journal survey said they weren't crazy about the big, beautiful bill, they're not loving the tariffs, fair enough. When it comes to the economy and how they rate Donald Trump, they say the President of the United States is doing a very good job. And if you talk to Americans out there, they're not talking about tariff rates. They're not talking about inflation. They're saying, you know what, I'm feeling pretty good right now. Yeah. Prices aren't bad. And I'm sorry, but the April freakout that the markets had over the tariffs, Bessent said at the time, the Treasury Secretary, you're not going to see this burst of inflation, even though Powell keeps waiting for that inflation to pop up in the U.S. economy. So far, we have not seen it, guys. We're going into August right now.
And it seems to me that we're going to be waiting for a long time. And so this kind of leads us to what went viral today on social media, which actually backs up this entire story of how stupid Democrats can be, especially when it comes to social media. Their account posted this graph that says U.S. grocery prices reach record highs in 2025 because they're trying to blame Trump for high grocery prices. And as usual, Rapid Response fired back immediately and showed that majority of the increase, if not probably 97% of it, happened under Joe Biden. And this led to the social media account deleting the post. So I think whoever's running it, they truly need to know the facts. And what's also entertaining is what happened on Fox News, because a former Kamala Harris aide tried to argue the same point here. But unfortunately, it didn't work out well for him. Take a look.
We need to get back to basics on how we're going to deal with inflation and other issues and telling it in a much more simple way, talking about our accomplishments. But look, it isn't going to get fixed overnight. And right now, the president of the United States is Donald Trump. Republicans are in control of Congress. They're currently in recess rather than doing anything about inflation. Donald Trump was in front of the White House today claiming that he's crushed inflation, which is objectively false. If you were celebrating over the 4th of July right now, you had record beef prices,
Do you know what
record
the inflation rate
prices.
is?
Yeah, it's like about 3-4%.
No, it's below 3%. And it's been a long time since it's gotten there. I mean, you're looking at 2.5% inflation now.
Donald Trump promised to make grocery prices go down on day one. He promised to make housing prices go down on day one. We're 6 months in.
Prices have definitely come down. They could go down more. I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
They haven't come down. Inflation's still going up, and it's rising according to the latest stats.
Yeah. It's just not. That's not the case. Inflation has come down. Inflation, by nature, is growth in prices, but the growth is.
I mean, here's the thing. You want to talk about where the Democratic Party's gone wrong? Is that we spent the last couple of years telling people that the economy was good when it wasn't.
All right. So how do you solve inflation?
What's the same mistake?
What's the Democrat pitch?
Well, right now we're going to have to work with companies to try to get these prices down. And the first thing that I would do is stop this idiotic tariff war that's driving all the prices up.
All right. So here's a lesson when it comes to business and particularly entrepreneurship for people who may not be aware of this. Once inflation happens, businesses are not going to lower their prices. I don't know why Kamala Harris and people who associate with her believe that they could just go to a business and say, hey, please lower your prices. No, it doesn't work that way. OK. Once they know they can sell a product at a particular price and people will happily pay that price, no one in their right mind would lower the price. You guys following what I'm saying? So it's a complete joke that is his argument. He doesn't even know what the current inflation rate is.
Remember, they had 4 years, okay? Donald Trump has been president since the dawn of time. They had 4 years. They called it transitory. They didn't give a darn about it. They totally denied reality for 4 years. And actually, if you don't believe me, Democrats got embarrassed yesterday on X because they posted a chart that showed how low inflation was during the Trump years and how it skyrocketed during the Biden years, and they thought it was some sort of proof point. Again, they had 4 years to get this under control.
That there was a global inflationary crisis.
And finally, oh yeah, here we go again. Again, Biden had 4 years to get this under control.
Democrats didn't do enough to address it, but it's worse now than it was when Donald Trump took over 6 months ago.
And here you go. Now it's our turn.
You're not going to be able to gaslight the American people into believing that the economy is strong when it isn't.
All right. We'll let everybody go do their homework.
4 years.
Okay, so let's just follow this guy's logic, okay? He says there was a global inflation crisis. Well, if that's true, then why would you blame President Trump for high grocery prices? I mean, I don't know how two things can be true at the same time, right? So you can't have it both ways is my point here.
At the same time, which is what the president was talking about yesterday to Chair Powell, interest rates are too high. Average Americans, typical Americans working hard, going to their jobs every day, are trying to buy houses. They can't because the rates are too high. Our central rate is, like 35th or 45th in the world right now, which makes no sense considering the United States government is easily the number one
most reliable institution in the world. I mean, our full faith and credit is better than anyone else's. It just doesn't make any sense. People are hurting. The rate should come down, but we are optimistic that the Fed chair will do the right thing starting next week.
Ultimately, this takes me to the bottom line, okay? The American people are positive about the economy. They feel better than they have since 2021. That's a plus. Also, the tariffs have been effective. We've obviously generated a great deal of revenue from the tariffs, and it has not caused inflation or a recession. So that's good. And number three, there's been a great deal of investment into American businesses for the future. And that's also a plus. But these are the things that we know majority of mainstream media is not going to talk about or focused on, as you've seen throughout this video. But more importantly, I'd love to get your guys' thoughts about all this in the comment section below. Listen, starting with the news that the Department of Justice not only met once, but twice with Ghislaine Maxwell. Where do you see this going, honestly, okay? And number two, great news about the economy, as you know, but what's more important, can you guys tell me if gas is lower in your area? What changes have you seen in the grocery store? Have they been positive or negative? Just give me your own personal experience and thoughts in the comment section below. Now, late yesterday, the FCC finally approved the merger between Skydance and Paramount. Now, right before this took place, South Park attacked President Trump in one of their episodes, and Stephen Colbert's show and Democrats are still coping. So we talk about all of these stories in that video and more. So if you want to see it for yourself, all you have to do is click on it because it's coming up right now.